Life is fleeting, my friends. We rush through our days as if they will last forever. Yet in reality, each moment is borrowed, each breath is temporary, each heartbeat is a gift that will not return once it passes. We often take for granted the very essence of what keeps us alive, moving through our routines with little thought to the fragility of our existence. How easy it is to wake up in the morning, pour a cup of coffee, brush our teeth, and step into the day without ever pausing to consider that life is not guaranteed. We make plans as though tomorrow belongs to us, as though we have endless time to accomplish our goals, to reconcile with those we love, to speak words that matter, to follow dreams that stir our hearts. Yet we are painfully unaware of the truth that life is fleeting, that every single breath is a gift from God. You see, it is easy to forget the finite nature of our days when we are surrounded by the constant noise of this world, when distractions pull at our attention and obligations demand our energy. But if we stop for even a moment, if we take a deep breath and look around, we can see the truth staring us in the face. Life is fragile and time waits for no one. The very fact that we are alive, that we are breathing, that our hearts are still beating is nothing short of a miracle. And yet, so often we squander it. We waste our days chasing after things that will not last. We hold grudges that weigh down our spirits. We live in fear of the future or dwell in regret over the past, forgetting that the present is all we truly have. Each breath is a gift, a fleeting opportunity to live, to love, to serve, to grow, to be the person God created us to be. When we truly understand the fleeting nature of life, it awakens something deep within us, something that refuses to settle for the superficial, the temporary, the unimportant. We begin to see that relationships matter more than possessions, that kindness matters more than pride, that faith matters more than fear. Every breath reminds us that we have been given this day to do what is right, to choose what is good, to speak words of encouragement, to extend forgiveness, to take a step toward the dreams God has placed in our hearts. Yet, how often do we forget this? How often do we take another breath for granted as though it is nothing, as though it will always be here? My friends, it will not. Life is a vapor. It is here for a moment, and then it is gone. The psalmist tells us that our days are like grass, that we flourish like a flower in the field, yet the wind passes over it, and it is gone. Life is fleeting, and every breath we are given is precious beyond measure. When we wake in the morning, we have been granted another day, another set of breaths to use wisely, another opportunity to impact the lives of others, another chance to draw closer to God, and yet we are so often blind to it. We complain when things do not go our way. We grumble over inconveniences. We measure our worth in things that will not endure. And in doing so, we forget that each breath is a sacred gift, a divine provision, a chance to live fully and meaningfully. It is in the acknowledgement of life, fleeting nature, that we find urgency, that we find purpose, that we find the courage to live boldly. We begin to understand that tomorrow is not promised, that we cannot take even one more breath for granted, that the opportunities before us must be seized, the relationships must be nurtured, the words of love and encouragement must be spoken now, not later. Life is fleeting, and every breath reminds us of our dependence on God, on His mercy, on His grace, on His sustaining power. We are not self-sufficient. Our breath is not ours to keep. It is a gift, and it can be taken away in an instant, in the blink of an eye, in a moment we do not see coming. Accidents happen. Sickness strikes. Calamity arrives without warning, and in that instant, the reminder comes, life is fleeting, and every breath is a treasure. Those who recognize this live differently, they are not reckless, but they are urgent. They do not waste words. They do not waste time. They do not waste love. They understand that life is a gift, and gifts are to be cherished, not ignored. And so we're called to live with intention, to breathe with awareness, to honor the gift of life in everything we do, in every choice we make, in every word we speak. Every breath is a reminder of our mortality, and every reminder is a call to gratitude, to humility, to devotion, to the acknowledgement that we are here not by accident, but by design, by the hand of God who sustains us with every inhale and exhale. Let us then approach life with reverence, with thankfulness, with a recognition of the fleeting nature of our days. so that we might use each breath wisely, so that we might invest in eternity, so that we might leave behind a legacy of love, faith, and hope. When we understand that life is fleeting, that every breath is a gift, it transforms the way we live. We stop trivializing our time. We stop taking our loved ones for granted. We stop postponing the things that matter most. We begin to see that each breath is not merely a physiological process, but a sacred appointment, a divine opportunity to glorify God, to bless others, to grow in character, to make a difference. Life is fleeting, yes, but it is also full of purpose. Every breath is a chance to begin anew, to correct mistakes, to embrace joy, to extend mercy, to experience the abundant life God intended for us. And so, my friends, let us not be blind to this truth. Let us not live as though we have forever. Let us open our eyes to the fleeting nature of life, and let every breath we take remind us of the gift we have been given. The treasure in our hands, the responsibility to live fully, wisely, and faithfully, knowing that one day we will breathe our last, and the memory of every breath we took will echo in eternity. Awareness of mortality is one of the most profound realities that can ever confront a human being, for it awakens the soul and brings clarity to the heart. We live in a world where the thought of death is often pushed aside, avoided in conversation, hidden behind busy schedules and entertainment. And yet it is the one certainty that no human can escape. To truly recognize that our time on this earth is limited is to awaken to a level of urgency that can transform the way we live every single day. When we become aware of our mortality, we begin to see life differently. We see the fleeting nature of material wealth, the transience of human accolades, the temporary comfort of pleasures that cannot endure, and we are forced to confront what truly matters. Every choice, every decision, every action gains weight of significance because we are aware that we do not have an infinite number of days to correct mistakes, to pursue what is good, to make a difference, to love with all our hearts, to live with purpose. The psalmist reminds us that our days are like a shadow, like grass that withers. And when we meditate on that truth, we begin to understand that life is not just about passing time, but about fulfilling purpose. When a person truly comprehends mortality, they begin to prioritize what is eternal over what is temporary. They begin to make choices that reflect their values, their faith, and their understanding of the gift of life. We stop wasting hours on trivial pursuits and start investing in the things that truly matter: relationships, service, love, faith, and character. Awareness of death is not meant to paralyze us with fear, but to awaken us to the urgency of living rightly. It is a sobering reminder that every day is a gift and that the minutes we have are precious beyond measure. It causes us to examine our hearts, to ask ourselves hard questions about the way we are living, the paths we are following, and the legacy we will leave behind. Do we live with integrity, or do we compromise our values for fleeting approval? Do we forgive those who have wronged us, or do we carry grudges that weigh down our souls? Do we invest our time in helping others, or do we squander our opportunities in selfish pursuits? Mortality gives perspective. It strips away illusions of permanence and reminds us that all things of this world are passing, but the choices we make, the love we give, the faith we nurture, these are what endure. Awareness of mortality also humbles us, reminds us that we are not the masters of our fate, that we do not control the span of our lives, that the future is not guaranteed, and that our time is in the hands of God. This humility shapes our character and our priorities. When we recognize that our days are limited, we become more intentional about the relationships we cultivate. We speak words of encouragement, we reconcile with those we have hurt, we express love and gratitude because we understand that tomorrow is not promised. Awareness of death inspires courage. It gives us the resolve to pursue our calling, to confront fear, to step out in faith, to leave behind the safety of comfort for the sake of purpose. When we understand that life is temporary, we become less concerned with trivial judgments, less bound by the fear of failure, less constrained by the opinions of others, because we know that what matters is not popularity or status, but fidelity to the purpose for which God created us. Mortality reminds us to live with focus. Every decision is weighted by the reality that we cannot afford to waste time on meaningless distractions. We begin to seek wisdom, to understand truth, to grow in knowledge, to align our actions with principles that have eternal value. Our choices reflect the understanding that life is brief, that every opportunity to do good, to love, to serve, to impact others positively is precious, and once missed may never return. Awareness of death also deepens our gratitude. It makes us appreciate the simple pleasures, the quiet moments, the laughter of a loved one, the warmth of a sunrise, the blessing of a meal, the ability to breathe another breath. Gratitude flows naturally when we are reminded that life is fleeting, that every day, every hour, every moment is a gift to be cherished, not squandered. This awareness changes our relationship with God. It draws us to Him. It deepens our faith. It inspires us to live in obedience, humility, and love, because we understand that life is not merely about existing, but about fulfilling the purpose for which we were created. Awareness of mortality shapes our choices in subtle ways as well. It influences how we spend our money, how we allocate our time, how we nurture our health, how we interact with others, how we prioritize our dreams, how we prepare for the inevitable. We realize that leaving a meaningful legacy is more important than accumulating possessions, that investing in people is more valuable than accumulating power, that character is more enduring than reputation. When mortality is real to us, procrastination loses its appeal. So we stop saying later for the things that matter most. We recognize that reconciliation, confession, courage, kindness, generosity, and faith cannot wait. We act now, speak now, love now, serve now, because life is brief and tomorrow is not guaranteed. Awareness of mortality also brings perspective in trials. When we face suffering, loss, or hardship, we are reminded that these things are temporary, that our time is limited, and that our focus should remain on what is eternal. It gives resilience, patience, and a sense of purpose even in the most difficult circumstances. And so, awareness of mortality is not morbid, it is liberating. It awakens us to the value of each moment. It sharpens our focus on what is important. It gives clarity to our purpose. It deepens our compassion for others. It strengthens our faith. It humbles our hearts, inspires gratitude. It motivates action. It guides our choices. It shapes our character. It fosters courage. It prioritizes relationships. It cultivates wisdom. It deepens devotion. It encourages intentional living, transforms fear into reverence. It reminds us of our dependence on God. It calls us to live fully, wisely, and faithfully. It illuminates the path of righteousness. It awakens the soul to eternal truths. It inspires us to leave a legacy that matters. It focuses our hearts on things unseen. It causes us to measure life in moments of love and service rather than in the accumulation of wealth or fleeting pleasures. It draws our attention to the fragility of time. It reminds us that every choice carries weight. It teaches the value of preparedness for the inevitable. It transforms priorities from temporal to eternal. It deepens our understanding of purpose. It shapes the way we interact with the world. It awakens a sense of urgency. It cultivates a desire to live meaningfully. It fosters wisdom in decision-making. It nurtures patience in adversity. It encourages repentance where needed. Strengthens commitment to God. As calling, it increases awareness of the brevity of human existence. It motivates daily reflection. It illuminates the importance of character over reputation. It encourages the pursuit of truth. It fosters appreciation for the little things. It highlights the necessity of integrity. It awakens sensitivity to the needs of others. It reminds us that life is not a rehearsal, but the real moment to act. It sharpens the lens through which we view relationships. It calls for courage to do what is right. It inspires humility before God. It encourages generosity of spirit. It nurtures the heart to value the eternal over the temporary. It awakens the mind to purpose-driven thinking, reinforces the importance of leaving a meaningful impact. It teaches that procrastination is a thief of purpose. It clarifies what is truly important in life. It molds the way we spend our time. It causes reflection on the alignment of actions with beliefs. It heightens awareness of the gift of each breath. It inspires action that matters. It challenges us to live authentically. It awakens a longing for eternal perspective. It instills a sense of accountability. Deepens reverence for the life we have been given. It strengthens resolve to live intentionally. It cultivates a heart that treasures each moment. It teaches the fleeting nature of worldly pursuits. It magnifies the value of investing in people. It awakens a desire to live with purpose in every breath. It transforms fear of death into motivation to live righteously. It highlights the urgency of reconciliation. It instills humility in the presence of life as brevity. It motivates us to pursue faith and good works. It encourages reflection on the fleeting nature of our days. It draws attention to the temporary nature of earthly achievements. It inspires a heart for service. It emphasizes the eternal value of our choices. It deepens compassion. It fosters reflection on what matters most. It inspires urgency in action. It encourages intentionality in living. It awakens sensitivity to the brevity of time. It inspires pursuit of what endures beyond life. It strengthens desire to live in accordance with God. As will, it cultivates mindfulness of each moment. It awakens a profound sense of purpose. It illuminates the truth that awareness of mortality shapes our purpose and guides every choice we make. Faith in God is the anchor for the human soul, the steadying force that transforms trembling fear into unshakable peace, especially when we confront the reality of our mortality. Life is uncertain, my friends. We cannot predict the hour of our final breath. We do not know the day when we will face the unknown, and yet there is a peace that surpasses understanding for those who put their trust in God. Fear is natural. It is human to hesitate, to worry, to question, to tremble at the thought of death. Even the bravest among us can feel the weight of uncertainty pressing down on our hearts. And yet, faith provides a refuge, a shelter, a haven in which the soul can rest, knowing that death is not the end, but a passage into the presence of God. When we have faith, we understand that life does not conclude in darkness, that our story does not end in despair, that our existence is held within the loving hands of a Creator who knows the beginning and the end. Faith reshapes our perspective. It enables us to see beyond the immediate, beyond the fear, beyond the temporary pain, and to embrace the eternal promises of God. In the Scriptures, we read that those who trust in the Lord will be secure, that He will never leave nor forsake us, that He will be our shepherd even through the valley of the shadow of death. Faith is the lens through which we view mortality not as a curse, but as a transition, not as an enemy, but as a threshold into the fullness of God's presence. Fear often arises from the unknown, from uncertainty about what comes next, from the natural human desire to control what we cannot control. But faith is the antidote to that fear, the light that dispels the shadows, the calm in the storm, the peace that surpasses all understanding. It transforms trembling hearts into hearts that can rest, knowing that God, His plan is perfect, that His timing is flawless, that His love is eternal. When a person has faith in God, they approach the inevitability of death with a confidence that is unshaken by circumstance, untroubled by doubt, unmoved by the chaos of life around them. They are not fearless in the sense of being careless, but they are fearless in the sense that they are anchored, rooted, and grounded in something far greater than themselves. Faith cultivates hope. Hope is born when we trust that God is sovereign, that His purposes are good, that His promises are sure. It reminds us that life is not random, that suffering is not meaningless, that death is not the ultimate end. With faith, we look forward to eternity. We anticipate the reward of righteousness. We rejoice in the promise of reunion with our Creator. And we rest in the knowledge that life, struggles are temporary, and that God, as presence, is eternal. Faith in God also shapes the way we live our final days. It encourages us to forgive those who have wronged us, to reconcile broken relationships, to speak words of love and encouragement, to leave a legacy of kindness and righteousness. When we know that death is not the end, we begin to live in a way that reflects God's love, grace, and mercy. Fear of death loses its power because we know who holds our future. We understand that our worth is not measured by worldly accomplishments, that our security is not found in wealth or status, that our peace does not come from human approval, but from the steadfast, unchanging love of God. Faith transforms our hearts from anxiety to trust, from despair to hope, from trembling to courage. Even in the face of suffering, illness, loss, or uncertainty, the believer can experience a peace that the world cannot give, a joy that the trials of life cannot steal, a quiet confidence that carries us through the most difficult moments. When we meditate on the promises of God, when we immerse ourselves in His Word, when we pray and surrender our fears, We discover that life and death alike are under his control and our souls can rest secure. Faith also provides clarity of purpose. When we know that we will one day stand before God, that we are accountable for our lives and that eternity awaits, it reshapes our priorities. We are compelled to live righteously, to love unconditionally, to serve faithfully, to walk humbly, to seek the kingdom of God above all else. Fear loses its grip because we are no longer focused on the temporary, but on the eternal. In this faith, we find strength to endure, courage to face the unknown, and serenity to accept the things we cannot change. We recognize that every breath, every heartbeat, every moment is a gift from God. And we are called to use it wisely, faithfully, and with purpose. Faith in God transforms our understanding of death from something to dread into something to anticipate with hope, knowing that for those who believe it is not an end, but a beginning. We are reassured that life continues beyond the grave, that justice is in the hands of a righteous God, that mercy is available to the repentant, that joy awaits those who remain steadfast, and that love endures beyond the final breath. When we embrace this faith, fear is replaced with calm, anxiety with assurance, despair with hope, and trembling with trust. It is a peace that does not depend on circumstances, a tranquility that is unshaken by storms, a confidence that endures even when the world is uncertain. Faith teaches us to surrender control, to place our lives fully in God as hands, to trust his wisdom, to accept his timing, to rely on his provision. It reminds us that while we cannot control the hour of our death, we can control the way we live, the way we love, the way we prepare our hearts, and the way we honor God with the days we've been given. Faith also transforms grief. When a loved one passes, when sorrow presses down upon us, when questions arise that seem unanswerable, faith offers a refuge. It reminds us that death is not the ultimate enemy, that mourning can coexist with hope, that tears can be accompanied by trust, and that our final breath is not to be feared, but embraced with the assurance of God. Presence. Faith in God shapes every aspect of our life in light of death. It impacts our relationships, our priorities, our choices, our actions, our thoughts, our words, our intentions, and our perspective on eternity. It transforms fear into peace because we no longer rely on ourselves, but on the eternal, on the unchanging, on the faithful God who holds the universe in his hands and who holds us even closer. Faith gives courage to face the unknown, clarity to make meaningful choices, serenity to accept life. As limitations, strength to endure suffering, hope to look beyond the present, confidence to embrace eternity, gratitude for every gift, purpose in every action, wisdom in every decision, love in every interaction, and peace in every moment. For we know that life end is not the end of the story, but the continuation of the journey with God. And so the believer can stand unshaken, breathe with assurance, live with intention, face mortality with confidence, act with purpose, love with abandon, serve faithfully, hope unwaveringly, rejoice amidst trials, and experience the transformation that only faith in God can bring. For faith in God transforms fear into peace at life. End.